You're listening to DraftKings Network.
You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account, a friend paying you back, or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card, or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply.
Folks, the playoff season is here, and the only thing better than the game day predictions are the foods that come with them. Introducing Tums Fantasy Foodball Pool, brought to you by Tums, America's #1 antacid brand, and DraftKings. Each week leading up to the big game, turn football into foodball by building your best game day plate for a shot at winning a share of $40,000 in cash prizes. Inspired by game day bites and tailgate treats, join the Tums Foodball action during this playoff season's most heartburn-inducing times. Visit DraftKings.com/TumsFoodball between January 6th and February 9th to enter for free and select your game day plate before the start of each playoff round. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See terms at DraftKings.com/TumsFoodball. When you feel the heat of the game, don't let the heartburn keep you on the sidelines. Try Tums Chewy Bites with a tasty outer shell and soft center for fast relief of heartburn, acid indigestion, and upset stomach. Check out Tums Gummy Bites, featuring a soft and easy-to-chew format for fast relief of occasional heartburn, acid indigestion, sour stomach, and upset stomach. Both available at Amazon, Target, and other major retailers nationwide. And for more heartburn relief fun, be sure to follow Tums at Tums Official on Instagram and TikTok.
Shadow Show.
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 Shadow in it.
Shadow in it.
I can't tell you how rare it is at this early on a Tuesday morning to see Stugotz and Mike Ryan maximum locked in on sports, just snorting the highest level of tennis, even though it's just a quarterfinal. Snorting
It's a quarterfinal that feels like a final, Dan. I mean,
you two, Mike Ryan has been jumping around, popcorn jumping around, watching here. He wants, what do you want here? Clearly, you just want this match to go on forever.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get that. Imagine if this match were any good, but just Djokovic with Andy Murray coaching him right now is just too strong. But I do love early morning tennis. A reason to feel alive on a Tuesday. I've got so much money on this I'm about to lose, and I really probably shouldn't be betting this heavy on tennis.
The room is a little light today because we've got illness, and Jessica's simply feeling sick. She's flying back. We're trying to get into contact with her, but we've got a lot of soldiers down with sickness, and Stugotz is asking, because he's a bit of a hypochondriac.
well, I mean, we should be concerned, should we not? I mean, no one's here.
Stugotz is saying, what is it? Do you know what it is? It's a viral strain of what that has all of these people knocked out today?
Have you read about the diarrhea strain? It's not that. At least I don't think it's that.
The brown wave.
What about it?
There's a really bad violent diarrhea thing, like where you get it and within minutes you're vomiting and pooping.
And we just pulled out of the World Health Organization.
Oh, please don't. Can we not do that today? I had
Look
such
behind him. I hate to tell you.
I saw that. I'm like, guys, the show's been cooking the last few months. We haven't talked to anything. It's just, all right, so what? He did a Nazi salute. Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, I did have the over on a day and a half before there would be a Sig Heil in this new administration, but unfortunately I lost my money on that one, so it's behind Dan now.
I can't have without comment, which is how I was going to do it all show before you guys got carried away. I can't without comment have that behind me and not have you guys say that I'm making it political when I was going to do it and am going to do it without comment.
I don't trust you on that one.
Yeah, it seems tricky.
I have over under 4.5 on Nazis today. I won already.
I'd bet dollars to donuts. You're going to mention politics today.
What are we going to do? First of all, I still don't understand why it is we bet dollars to donuts. I believe that I'm going to abstain from a couple of things today. I'm going to go try to go the day without talking about Jimmy Butler, even though Jeremy is dying to talk about Jimmy Butler because he was in the most awkward locker room he's ever been in his life, he said, all 6 days of his life.
You're talking about
So
it.
that's a
though.
loss.
That's a loss.
that's a
Yeah.
loss.
For one.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about
show-
Khalil Ware and Bam Adebayo
The
together.
show
I don't know
hasn't
what you're
started
doing.
yet. I'm not talking about anything yet. The show starts in earnest when the intro plays. This is a shadow show. Anything can happen here. And this is not show. This is something that is before the show. And so I was going to avoid politics, and I was going to avoid Jimmy Butler, and I was going to talk just football, just the way it is that you want me to do it.
Right.
But when you told me about a brown wave, I didn't bring that up. Billy jumped in there. All of a sudden, he put between a red wave and a blue wave, he put a brown wave. Once he puts that in there, I'm like, oh, yeah. And did you see we checked out of the World Health Organization now Mike Ryan is sick to his stomach
Who?
because Djokovic wins. Mike Ryan's sick to his stomach.
Or
This
he
is
has the
not-
virus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm bummed.
Diarrhea strain.
Dan asked me if I hated Djokovic. I'm like, no, I don't hate him. I just dislike him more than any other tennis player. But it's not hate. Like, I respect him. And look, he's going right now and he's celebrating with Andy Murray, and Andy Murray is one of my all-time favorites. So it does bring like a little slight dash of likability to a guy. I would actually really like Djokovic if he were more of his true self, because when things don't go his way and the crowd gets behind the other person, he taps into this villain character that I wish I saw more of.
That villain character, when you're as excellent as he is really such a strange thing to see in the modern age, Stugotz, because back when you and I loved tennis because American tennis was great, we had an assortment of divas at the top of the sport. But this guy being a villain, this kind of excellence, when he broke, I remember when he broke it, he was like 20 years old, and it was here on Key Biscayne where everyone in tennis was talking about what this was going to be. And at the time, he had all sorts of conquerors ahead of him. But Federer has been in charge of this sport for so long that seeing him come and take it from him and then become villainous has been an interesting turn.
And I really like this era right now because you have Alcaraz, who was, arguably best in the world prior to this matchup here. Look, Djokovic lost to Riley Opelka a couple of weeks ago. This is a stunning turnaround. He had a light off season. There's a reason why this matchup is in the quarterfinal. But you have Djokovic being all-time great and now keeping the young ones at bay. You mentioned American men's tennis. We're on the precipice of something very special. A golden generation of American males are coming, and this guy is being the gatekeeper right now, and I think I might actually hate him.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
I'm curious because I'm sure that everyone listening to this understands the feeling that I'm about to express right now. And it's a feeling that you can't control. When I'm watching Lions in Washington going into that game, in my head, unemotionally attached, I'm like, man, it'd be really nice for Detroit to feel good for a while about its football since it hasn't happened in my lifetime.
Right.
To feel like they have a legitimate chance and they got the bye. And generally speaking, if you've got the bye, you win that football game. Just, I don't know whether it's a 70 or an 80% clip, but it's pretty surprising for Washington to go into Detroit and be able to do that as a 9.5-point dog, a rookie quarterback to become, win 2 road games now and is the best rookie quarterback since, we got to say, Marino, right? We've already got to say that in terms of impact as a rookie, you're not supposed to learn the position this way. In college, this guy somehow averaged 10 yards a play, a first down a play at LSU, and now just ransacked a Detroit team that had the most hope of any in my lifetime. But what surprised me about Saturday night is I switched allegiances quick, and I went to rooting against the Lions and then laughing at the Lions fan base, and I had no control over what it is that was happening to me. It just happened.
You became a commie.
That's what happened.
Yeah. Huh.
I didn't have this in this America. I became a commie.
Huh.
On Saturday night.
Interesting.
Because this makes me, to hate the Lions, to hate this Lions team. Dan Campbell, you're really going to do the trick plays? They don't look cute. When all you have to do is have Goff not be Goff, we knew he was going to be Goff. We knew at some point you were going to get Goffed. And were you guys with me on laughing at Detroit, or did you feel bad for Detroit?
I was laughing at Detroit ahead of time because I didn't understand. There are about 4 franchises in that league where nothing good will ever happen to them.
Yep.
And for them to be consensus favorites to go to the Super Bowl. Really, the Detroit Lions favorite? We expect the Detroit Lions and their fans to feel joy? Like, hold on. Like, let's temper our expectations just a little bit. We still have to see it. And also, I know they made it to an NFC Championship game, but this core, I don't know if that's enough suffering. Certainly, the franchise and the fan base has suffered plenty. Don't get me wrong. But, more obstacles. Jayden Daniels is a really good quarterback. I was just really confused as to why that franchise and its fans were so confident.
So you need more suffering from Lions fans and for the Lions organization because they haven't suffered enough.
I need the amount of suffering around this core of Lions players for them to go into a big game and not be cocksure.
Right.
And they walked into that game cocksure.
Are the Commanders not also a suffering fan base?
Yes.
So do you not feel good for them?
Yeah, but the Commanders had a run in the 80s and 90s that most fans of any organization would take. I would take that run.
The Commies hadn't won a playoff game since 2006.
Yeah.
They've now won 2 on the road, and he's threatening to do something, Stugotz. I mean, to ransack a league by surprise, you're 2 wins away. I don't expect them to win in Philadelphia either, but that was a slop football game, and Philadelphia and Buffalo were ready to give away those games at the end. Like, both of those games were ready to go. When I want to get back to Detroit in a second, but I want to, since we were talking about the Buffalo and the Raven game, because I want to talk about Mark Andrews. Mm-hmm. To have your excellence, Bill Buckner, like that. Mark Andrews has more touchdowns than anyone in the history of that franchise. That franchise has been really good.
Yeah.
For him to have a Bill Buckner moment where, you're going to remember that he should have caught that, when I keep arguing on behalf of Stugotz, and I know Mike and others tell me that I'm soft for doing it. Man, it's got to be hard to catch a hard, slick football in the cold. Like, that's an unplayed.
It's your job, man.
Especially when it's not totally on the money.
I know.
When it's not totally on the money.
I know. But I want to.
How about Harbaugh? Drop a new 2-point conversion play.
Yeah.
Every single time is the exact same play. I don't know if it's worked once.
It's not a stoppable play.
It is very stoppable. It's been stopped every single time he's done it. I don't think he succeeded at once. I saw 3 different examples of when it was stopped. It hasn't worked one time. Drop a new play. How about give it to Derrick Henry and have him just run it right up the gut?
Yeah,
that's a good plan.
Fine.
Yeah.
He's
huge.
That is a plan. Yes, he is huge.
Hard to tackle, Dan.
You want the MVP with options. Is better than Derrick Henry one option.
That's a pretty good option.
Agreed.
MVP.
Agreed.
Ridiculous.
But okay.
Ever heard of Isaiah Likely? It's because Mark Andrews sucks now.
The reigning MVP. The reigning.
He might actually win a third, which means he has as many MVPs as postseason wins.
Yeah.
Yes, he's got. This is an interesting thing. Okay, because he's got, in a league you cannot do this anymore. He's got multiple turnover games. Half of his playoff games are multiple turnover games. And when I say you can't do this anymore, Stugotz, the winning team in the playoffs that we just saw this weekend threw for an average of 166 yards. Mm-hmm. What's changing in that sport is, no, that's fine. We'll play it in a tiny, tiny phone booth, but our quarterback will not give it up. C.J. Stroud will get sacked 8 times because there'll be pressure up the middle, but our quarterback will not be turning the ball over. In fact, Patrick Mahomes' worst season of his life we're seeing right now. This is the worst statistical season of his life. You want to guess how many 300-yard games he has?
2.
3.
What?
3 all season. He's got 3 300-yard games. Patrick Mahomes has been mediocre and has double-digit turnovered it. But this is what I wanted to tell you about the Bills and why I think the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, even though they are a team. Why would they ever expect good things to happen to them, right? The Bills are.
Yeah, they're one of those 4.
They're one of the teams. Yes.
Well, who are the 4, by the way?
But they've done so much suffering.
It's the Jets, it's the
Browns,
Browns,
Lions, Bills.
Yeah. I mean, the Bills they've been to 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but and then what happened?
You lose all of them.
Yeah.
Stugotz, Notre Dame's season's not going to be remembered.
You can't win it unless you get there, Dan.
It really
I'll never
should.
forget it.
Yeah, it really should be remembered.
Yeah, it should.
Man, there's so many football storylines. I want to take that one now.
You don't remember second place. You don't remember it. Like Notre Dame
Sometimes
fans,
you
no,
do.
No.
Canes, Ohio
Wait,
State.
are we letting Lamar off the hook?
Look,
because an opposing quarterback scored more than 14 points and then he's done so?
I'm going to go back there in a second. I'm
terrible.
No, the thing that I want to talk about, because it's in the weeds a little bit on football, but to me it's fascinating because we spend the whole season trying to get to a metric that tells us who's best. 1-game samples, we understand some of them in the snow. You tell me the importance of coaching and coaching and coaching and coaching, and largely, at the end, it was all the best quarterbacks. Largely, Sam Darnold became Sam Darnold, Jared Goff became Jared Goff. Everyone's still terrified of Stafford. You're lucky to beat him with Hurts and a $122 in passing because he doesn't turn the ball over, and Philadelphia will just run straight at you. And like that, the way that team plays is crazy.
Yes.
Like in the modern age, to beat you 50 yards at a time with Saquon Barkley because Lane Johnson is just bigger than everybody. But to have the Buffalo Bills advance to now a game that is the weakest Chiefs team, even though it's only lost twice.
How do they keep getting away with this?
What's going on here?
The weakest Chiefs team that we have seen in the Mahomes era, and certainly the weakest offense that we have seen in the Mahomes era. What Buffalo takes into that, and Stugotz, I want you to help me examine this because it legitimately is something I do not understand and have not seen. A quarterback who was wildly inaccurate coming out of college and unbelievably reckless with the football has become now a quarterback who we haven't had in the league since 1970, because that's the last time you'll find somebody who fumbled as little and threw as few interceptions and took as few sacks, negative plays from a quarterback, as this one. Josh Allen has become the greatest protector of the football in the sport. This is an offense that is historic in protecting the football at a time everyone's protecting the football. Why'd you beat the Ravens at home even though you hadn't lost at home all season? They turned it over, and you did not. That was the difference between those two teams, both of which we know can be Super Bowl winners, both of which we'd all acknowledge, yes, those are two teams that are good. Baltimore was favored in that game. Buffalo hasn't lost a game at home all season, and everyone saw, no, that's the number one defense. Against the number one defense since week 11, Josh Allen can be trusted to not turn the ball over. Get out of here. Like, how is not everybody in the world talking about, you know what the difference in that sport is? All the analysis, all of it. That quarterback doesn't make mistakes. How? Like
you're confused by this.
How can I not be? I said he was terrible at football.
I think what the Bills have done, I mean, he threw the ball 22 times. They're not putting him in spots where he's going to turn the ball over. Like the offense, it's kind of like he's been, it's kind of like a game manager. Like it's time of possession. It's take as much time. It's keep the other quarterback off the field. And Josh Allen is not throwing 45 times a game to win.
The reason it's not game management is because you're still terrified of them on 3rd and 11.
Well, of course you are.
But that's what I'm saying.
But that's why he's so great.
But game management with Alex Smith, you weren't terrified of anything on 3rd and 11.
When there's a crucial play, Alex Smith isn't keeping the ball in his hands.
But it's the rare game manager who can also just win the game by himself.
Okay, but so you see,
he's managing games, guys.
Of Josh Allen.
I am.
Can we put this narrative to bed before it starts?
Josh Allen's playing the cleanest football of any QB in NFL history per NFL on CBS. This season, he has the lowest percentage of plays with a sack, fumble, or interception since the merger. Only 4.2% of plays end that way for the Bills.
So, Stugotz, this season, the Bills have basically had half a turnover a game. Half a turnover a game is the average on what the Bills, how you steal the football from them.
Sounds like he's due.
That's the worry. It's bound to happen at some point. Bad weather, happen to anyone.
Ooh.
And I understand Lamar for his postseason, that was one of his better performances, but statistically, he's quite literally half the quarterback he is during the regular season. In the postseason, you juxtapose that with what Josh Allen is to his team, a team that spent their entire offseason taking away talent from him, while the Ravens just stacked talent on talent on talent. So many first-rounders across that team. And the difference is Josh Allen played a clean game. Lamar Jackson couldn't. And I know Andrews is the foil because a defender made a great play with a peanut punch and he didn't catch that ball. But Lamar Jackson's fumble was stupid, dumb, worse. Trying to do too much. In fact, you could watch it over again and wonder, how does this even become a fumble? How do you have the opportunity to fumble it, let alone almost be a fumble 6? Like the criticisms of Lamar have long since
fumble
been valid.
6 is not a thing.
It can't be.
It was almost a fumble 6.
It can't be a thing, but I'm just saying that phrase doesn't work. A pick 6 works, a fumble 6 does not work.
You're right. We need to come up with a different name.
We need another name for
Really?
that. That's not good enough.
I mean, it's not my word.
It's not a phrase that's okay. Pick 6 rhymes and we allow it. Fumble 6, that's the first time I'm hearing it, and I don't want it. Fumble, even though I know exactly what you mean, and I do want to keep examining Stugotz because we won't leave Mark Andrews alone because what came over me on Mark Andrews felt really bad.
Scoop and score.
Fumble 5+1.
Oh, wow. I like that math.
Inefficient. You were pointing.
Metrics.
You're pointing at Billy supporting fumble 5+1, which is truly terrible.
How so?
We had scoop and score right there.
Yeah.
Plus a potential other one.
I quickly bailed on my own and went to Billy's defense.
I want to talk about Lamar Jackson, Stugotz, and Mark Andrews because at the end of that game, Lamar Jackson did what you require from the MVP on the road. Yeah. At the end of the game, the punctuation falls to someone other than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, which is why I feel so bad for Mark Andrews, because we were about to get what Roger Goodell does to solve every problem. More football.
Yes.
We're going to get 18 games. We were about to get overtime between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Or we were about to get Josh Allen goes right down the field, not going to be a game manager, going to win the game, or turns it over, Josh Allen, and we laugh at him all offseason because you didn't turn it over at all, but then you turned it over.
I wanted to yell at McDermott for kicking the field goal.
Well, so let's talk about this for a second.
You can't do it.
This is, Stugotz, this is where this is.
Even though you should.
We knew that Sam Darnold was going to Sam Darnold. We suspected that that Jared Goff was going to Jared Goff. Where the Bills collapse is with us just watching them and being like, well, is it going to be the turnovers or is McDermott going to get you at the end? Because that's when he's going to shrivel up and say, I've got one of the best running weapons that there is. Yeah, you stopped him that time, but Ravens, the best I got is this. This is the best I got. I got Josh Allen with options, rolling around, needing to get a yard. Stugotz, the difference between the Rams and the Eagles season is the Eagles can't be stopped on 3rd and 2, and the Rams were a couple of times. Like, what can you do on 3rd and 2 in this league, and what can you do in 3rd and 11 in this league? That game was won. McDermott could have choked out Lamar Jackson at the end and instead kicked a field goal in the snow. When even if you go for it and miss, you're still putting Baltimore in the situation they got to go the whole field and get a touchdown.
But don't you guys think, because that touchdown was scored with 90 seconds remaining on the clock, so if they convert the 2-point conversion, it's a tie game. I do think Josh Allen's taking them right down the field, and they win it. Game over.
But you can do that in fiction and hypothesis, but it could also not go like that, and then we're laughing at you the rest of the way. Stugotz, do you know how close we were to laughing at the Eagles? That you're going to waste the Saquon Barkley game up with 5 minutes left by allowing the Rams to score 2 touchdowns on you on your field? Like, and if Stafford had done it, how surprised would you have been? Not very.
No, not at all.
I love watching him at this age.
So do I.
If Matthew Stafford in Detroit had the brains that Rams Matthew Stafford has right now, he'd genuinely be an all-timer.
Cagey vet.
There's just nothing that you can do to surprise him. He's seen it all.
I'm not going to put this on Mark Andrews, though. It's squarely. Like, listen, he had a bad day. I'm not going to deny that. This is squarely on Lamar Jackson. When you're talking about Josh Allen not turning the ball over, Patrick Mahomes not turning the ball over, Jayden Daniels, a rookie, never turning the ball over, and Lamar Jackson, a 2-time MVP, and I do think he is one of the greatest quarterbacks I have ever seen. But my fear for Lamar Jackson is he's going to turn into Dan Marino. There are too many good quarterbacks for all of them to win Super Bowls, and that's on Lamar. That's the glory position. That's the position everyone is watching. You cannot turn it over twice in that game.
So Stugotz is not wrong about anything that he's saying, but this is the context I would offer you, and the reason I say he's not wrong is he wasn't wrong all that time ago when he gave me the same analysis on Peyton Manning and the beginning of his career. And he was this loud about why Peyton Manning wasn't as good as you think Peyton Manning is because he didn't win championships. After 8 playoff games, both Peyton Manning and Lamar Jackson are 3-5. And over 7 seasons, when you win 80-plus games, the only one to not make it to a Super Bowl other than these Ravens is Peyton Manning's Colts. So Yes, you got to win in the playoffs, and he had a couple of turnovers. But for you to skip past Andrews, a guy touching the ball 7 times in the game, fumbling it once, and then dropping the tie and saying it's all on Lamar Jackson when Lamar Jackson made the throw at the end that needs to be caught to tie the game, like you're not showing any nuance there.
Well, I never have.
Could have been a little bit better.
Not going to start
throw.
today. I mean,
it could have been, sure. It could have been a better throw.
And don't forget, like the Derrick Henry one too, where Henry has to slow down because he's wide open. Like all these
are the little things, Dan.
Little missed throws.
Yeah.
I know I'm nitpicking, but I nitpick greatness.
Derrick Henry also dropped the ball that should have been a touchdown.
But no. But that's the one that I'm talking about. Like Derrick Henry has to catch it by his shins because the pass is so bad. The dude is wide open. You got to hit Derrick Henry full stride. That's a touchdown if he does.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Guys, Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you're going to get any money back whatsoever, and then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert will find your every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. All so you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live, full service, real-time updates only on iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
What is Dax are you?
Tracking all our cars on Carvana Value Tracker on all our devices? Yes, Kristen, yes I am.
Well, I've been looking for my phone for...
In Dax's domain, we see all. So we always know what our cars are worth.
All of them?
All of them. Value surge, trucks up 3.9%.
That's a great offer.
I know. Sell?
Sell.
Track your car's value with Carvana Value Tracker today.
Billy.
Yes?
You know what we've been talking about all season long?
Smirnoff?
Yeah, how'd you guess?
I knew it. I'm a good guesser.
You are. They are the official sponsor of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. So you already know that it's an official vodka partner of the NFL and Super Bowl 59. We're going to be there.
Oh.
Yes.
I can't believe we're by 59 already.
Yeah.
Time flies.
It does, yes.
Yeah, we're old.
I'm old.
Hey, you know what, Stugotz, I was thinking?
Yes.
Since football season's winding down, Super Bowl's coming up, Super Bowl 59, we've been celebrating football all year.
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea.
What?
Let's do a toast.
Okay. Oh, wow.
To football.
Really?
Yeah, me and you. Let's toast football.
So just a toast. So we're raising our glasses of Smirnoff vodka
glasses
here.
up, yeah.
All right, and we are toasting to football.
To football.
To football, everyone. What we love about Smirnoff is that you can get the world's #1 vodka without breaking the bank. This feeling is what the good folks over at Smirnoff call. Billy, you want to take a stab at this?
Let me guess. Smirnoff Extraordinary?
Nailed it! Oh my God.
I told you, I'm a good guesser.
Oh my God. And right now, Smirnoff has partnered with Complex, letting fans get their hands on some amazing items handpicked by celebrities, including NFL legend and Super Bowl champion Vernon Davis for the unbelievable price of $12.99, just like a bottle of Smirnoff. Oh. So head on over to SmirnoffDrops.com to check out upcoming drops and check out, oh, Billy, you want to take a guess again? These
Smirnoff Extraordinary
items.
Oh, look at us. What's the website?
It is SmirnoffDrop.com. Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer and may vary by state. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Dan Le Batard.
And then Matt Stafford threw him 25 and 2. Oh, there's a brand new kid in town out of BYU.
Stugotz.
They call him Puka. Puka Nakua. His quarterback is not named Tua. Yeah, he is Puka. Puka Nakua.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Josh Allen didn't turn the ball over, but Lamar had a better game than Josh Allen, except for the turnovers. The Ravens had a better game than the Bills, except for the turnovers. They outgained them 416 yards to 273. Like, the passing was better from Lamar. The running was better from Lamar than Josh. They just held on to the ball and they secured the ball. That was the difference.
All the teams that had more yards this weekend lost the game.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
That's a wild stat. The Peyton Manning thing, I think, kind of clicks a a little bit. Like Lamar, since he's been in the league, he's won the MVP about like 15% of the time that he's been in it. And we were saying these things about Peyton Manning for a long time. And I think, quite honestly, like Peyton might have had like top to bottom better teams. This is the best team I think I've ever seen Lamar Jackson have. And to go up against one of the weaker Buffalo Bills teams, the only difference is this Bills team has the best Josh Allen we've ever seen, and that's the standard. That's who we compare. Yes, by yards, they had a better game, but I don't think Lamar was better than Josh Allen.
I mean, he had a better rating, he had a better QBR.
Yeah, but Josh did the things to win. More importantly, he did the things to not lose, and Lamar did certain things in that game. Be off by a beat, an inch or two, not be perfect on his opportunities, the turnovers. I just think Josh was better.
This is funny. And you can say whatever you want about who was better in that game. But I do find amazing that by limiting Josh Allen as much as I possibly can, that's how I'm going to beat Lamar Jackson, who needs to be not an inch off, not a step slow. This person, Lamar,
I was late.
Look, this is what I'm going to say is fair about your criticism because the winners get to write the history. The losing is forever. He can make all the excuses that he wants. We already did this 20 years ago. The part I'm finding funny is that Bill Polian didn't think Lamar Jackson could be a quarterback because he's exactly the same as Peyton Manning is in the playoff. Like statistically, their teams are the same. Wow, great expectations. And then they fall flat in the playoffs. And I spend the entire time arguing to anyone who will listen, Peyton Manning is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. And I am wrong eternally because he had the start that Lamar Jackson did while Tom Brady was winning right out of the gate, because we do believe there's a knows how to win, and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are the ones that have that now, because none of us even understand. We'd all be willing to dismiss them as the worst team remaining in these playoffs, given how limited their offense is. But they keep winning every which way, including against the Texans in a way that was a bit baffling.
They have 12 wins by single digits.
It will be funny.
Think about that.
It will be funny to see if they win again just because they know how to win and none of us understand how they know how to do that. But to watch Lamar Jackson play the career arc out of Peyton Manning, Stugotz, and I'm going to give you, we have more metrics now than we did back then. In 1999, we were really doing win and clutch, and that's why Peyton Manning can't win in the postseason. Now we have the math that tells us that in tight window throws this season, Lamar Jackson was far and away the best quarterback in the league. It wasn't even close on accuracy.
Right.
So Lamar Jackson, you may think of a certain way, but he's kind of Drew Brees. In terms of accuracy, you might see a quarterback the same way Bill Polian did and be like, nah, not a quarterback. Doesn't look like a quarterback to me. Because it's too much Randall Cunningham. It's move around. It's a lot of athleticism, but also tight window throws, better than anyone in the sport, while the Bills are saying, Josh, no more tight window throws. Just
easy throws.
Tuck it and run.
Yes.
Run for 6 yards.
Shakir for 7.
Yes. Knox and Kincaid, no problem.
Speak for yourself on clutch. I've been talking clutch since 1980. I mean,
fair enough. You understand? You do understand what I'm saying, though, right?
Of course I do. Yeah.
That Lamar Jackson is going to get all of it today, and that's what happens when you lose. And I really do feel like everything's fair under those circumstances. That's the contract in sports. The fan doesn't have to be reasonable or perspective-filled about these things.
You say that, with Peyton Manning making that comparison, there was only one quarterback for Peyton to overcome, and it was Tom Brady. And my fear for Lamar Jackson, because you watch him and you see the obvious talent, and you're watching one of the all-time great quarterbacks to ever play the sport, but Manning only had Brady to deal with. Lamar has Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Jackson, Jayden Daniels. All those guys can't win Super Bowls.
So he's like Phillip Rivers?
I don't know. That's my fear for Lamar Jackson. We're not going to remember him the correct way.
I will say that the dollop of perspective I would put on the punctuation to their season is he did the things at the end that you want him to do. It can't.
Except win.
It can't. Look, I understand, Stugotz, but you and I remember Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl because Pete Carroll didn't just hand the ball to Marshawn Lynch. Tom Brady was on the sidelines. No more clutch, no more of a winner. He was watching the way the rest of us were watching. On the play and in the drive that was needed from Lamar Jackson, he went down the field on the road and tied the football game.
I know, but he puts himself in those positions with the turnovers. That's the point. Like, Dan, that's a game. If you really watch the game and break down the stats and look at it, Baltimore should have blew him out.
Correct. And turnovers are that important. And I've watched Stugotz. One of the great frustrations of my aesthetic football lifetime is, oh, please don't make Patrick Mahomes play that way. Like, don't make the sport change and so much with the athleticism that now Patrick Mahomes, I'm looking at him statistically, and he'll win at the end, but he's a totally mediocre quarterback. And what used to be, I can get 177 yards to just Tyreek Hill, is I get 177 yards, and 117 of them are to Travis Kelce.
16 to 25, 177, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He's Alex Smith.
Come on. It's bad. Like, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch. That's going to win? Okay, so we're just going to Andy Reid squeeze it to death. We're just going to, how do we get to 22 points by any means necessary? If we could just get to 20. That offense, and I was always scared to bet the under on 30 and 31 and a half. Team total. That offense is at the top of the sport. Had kind of the easiest game this weekend, unless you want to go with the commies. And now you're set up where the analysis of all of this from the start should have been some form of, you know who's going to be remaining at the end? The people I think are the best quarterbacks. And also Jalen Hurts. Because Philadelphia is playing a different – Philadelphia is saying, you know what? What I love about what Philadelphia is doing.
It's great, yeah.
It just is. It is so great, and it's so great for that city. Because that city considers itself rugged. I don't know how high Saquon Barkley has now climbed on Philadelphia sports legends for all time. But beating a football team to death with his thighs in the modern age, instead of going space age, just saying, you know what we're going to do? We're going to break off a 70-yarder here at some point because he's too big and strong and you're going to get tired of tackling him.
Jalen Hurts threw for 128 yards.
What Philadelphia has in its backfield that is so great. It's not just that their offensive line will maul you, okay? Because, Stugotz, I don't know how much of the Rams-Eagles did you watch this weekend?
Not a lot, to be honest.
All right. So there was one storyline they were playing up all game that was fun to watch, okay? And Jared Verse said before the game, and he's a menace. He went to FSU. He also went to somewhere smaller before that. And he's just so fun. And he said he hated Philadelphia and that their fans weren't that smart. And then around the stadium before the game, he's, showing muscles in the cold, just taunting fans.
He went to school at Albany, Dan, before. The Great Danes.
Tell me something about Albany. Tell me something about what the
capital of New York.
Reese Poffenbarger went there.
What was this human being doing to other human beings at Albany? Because he's a menace of a man, and he's a first-round pick, and he goes into that game, and he starts taunting Philadelphia, and also after a sack where he really ragdolled Jalen Hurts, who's got one of the, he doesn't get ragdolled very much, Jalen Hurts, because of what his lower body strength is. He gives it felt like the gladiator spectacle, Stugotz, where he's in the center of the field and he's giving Philadelphia fans double thumbs down. But he's going up all game against Lane Johnson, who's about twice his size. Like when you see those cameras from the back, what you're watching is he just keeps all of these players just get engulfed in Lane Johnson, who hasn't allowed a sack in I don't know how long. The Rams were this close, Stugotz.
Oh, they were.
They were this close. Nobody has to go through Detroit anymore. The Rams. We all know that
this close to hosting the NFC Championship game in Glendale.
The Rams.
I think it would have been at SoFi.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I was rooting for LA. I really was. Yeah.
I was too. Did you watch?
Not a lot.
Can I ask you guys this question about Mark Andrews? Because my eyes may be lying to me on this one. Jeremy, if you could look this up for me, I would appreciate it. I think of Mark Andrews as somebody, and I may have this totally wrong. DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, these two human beings were statistically people who had more tackles than drops in their careers. They tackled people after interceptions more often than you would throw the ball, hit them somewhere within a radius that was seen as catchable, and it ended up being a drop. I don't think of Mark Andrews as someone who ever drops the football. However, whatever the sport does to the human body, that guy is one of the first kind of Gronky people that there have been, leading the Ravens in touchdowns. If you throw the ball near that person, it's not guardable. The DBs aren't big enough. If you throw the ball accurately, he becomes, for Lamar Jackson, what all those receivers were for Drew Brees when it was all timing accuracy, not guardable, always open. 3rd and 11, whether it's Michael Thomas or Mark Andrews, always open, and if you throw it over there, the DB's not going to be able, without interfering, to get around his body to get near the football. Is Mark Andrews a dropper late in his career? Because I was trying to think on the way in here today, did Mark Andrews just Bill Buckner? Like, in whatever the modern equivalent of those things can be.
Jackie Smith.
That's old school, though.
I know who that is.
Well, so is Buckner.
But for the people that don't.
But Jackie Smith is what year? Is that? Are we talking about 1990s?
No, that's a Cowboys Steelers Super Bowl.
1970s?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So Roy, you went old school there, and you always frighten me and surprise me when you do that because you went old school beyond the old school, and you went to the original Super Bowl.
It wasn't the original. It wasn't
like
Super Bowl
79
1.
in Roy's defense. I mean, your World Series was 86.
But I'm talking. Yes, but
I mean, it's a comp. I mean, Jackie Smith was a tight end. He dropped the ball in the end zone.
No, but so Jackie Smith, if you were to look that up, I don't know if we'd get in trouble with football footage. We probably would. But if you guys could find Jackie Smith was wide open in the end zone. This was just they threw it at his chest and he failed to catch it. I think that was also in the snow. If I'm not.
No, that was in Miami, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think it was in Miami.
All right, we will find out in a moment.
Wow.
He was just standing in the end zone.
Mark Andrews had 69 targets and 4 drops during the regular season. So
it was the best catch percentage of his career, actually, this year at 79.7%. He's always been above 65%.
He catches roughly 94% of the catchable passes thrown his way.
Catchable, though, right? Late throw.
I mean, that was certainly a catchable pass. It could have been better.
Yeah. Larry Fitzgerald, for his career, Dan, had 29 drops and 41 tackles.
I think DeAndre Hopkins is something like that. It's an amazing couple of stats. I just felt this. I know you guys make fun of me all the time for my weepy, syrupy, I feel bad for so-and-so. For the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson game with some stakes on it that felt like a Super Bowl to end in incompetence instead of competence made me hurt for a Hall of Famer of excellence that we can all agree has his name associated with greatness, most touchdowns in the history of the franchise, but might have just got stamped out by a moment because I don't know what Jackie Smith did in his career. I remember last week when we were talking about Bob Uecker, I failed to mention, like Bob Uecker for his career batted 200 and like had 145 at bats or something. Like just, it didn't play very much, but the rest of his career ended up being his legacy. The thing that made me feel bad for Mark Andrews, beyond just an athlete not being competent in a moment that demands greatness, for all of us to have that as the ending of that game, when I know how great that guy is, and was I just watching everyone diminishing that name to something that's less than great because of the size of that moment and the size of the incompetence.
Super Bowl 13 was in Miami. Jackie Smith's career numbers is 7,918 yards, 40 touchdowns.
No snow, by the way.
Snow? Yeah.
I don't know if there's any coming back from Mark Andrews from that with that organization for a lot of reasons. He's an all-time great for that franchise, but if you've watched him, he's had the injuries. He's got this bigger frame. He's got a bigger number attached to his contract, and Isaiah Likely has been coming for his job. Right. And if you remember that moment, what happened right before that play? Isaiah Likely's there for Lamar Jackson. Just like he's been there.
Isaiah Likely, the last
season.
3 seasons, this is felt fun to watch visually because it's sort of the evolution of the position, and to watch it happening on that team, Stugotz, for that position. When you're watching, tell me I don't have this right, because this is pretty rare in football, I think. I have watched Mark Andrews age in a way that's obvious to the eye. I've watched a lot of his career, a lot of those touchdowns. So when he's moving, I can see, not unlike I can see with Patrick Mahomes scrambling, oh, that's where football stole some of his youth. It's the same number. It looks like the same body. I'm expecting it to look the same at the end as it did at the beginning, but it doesn't. And the reminder is in his own huddle when Likely runs down the field and he doesn't look like he needs WD-40.
Right.
It's not chunks of rust that are falling. No, he's young. Yes.
He's fast.
Andrews is only 29. Like he played with Baker.
Yes. By the way, Jackie Smith made it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Also, he's white.
Put it on the poll at Lebitard Show. Maybe that's what I thought with Snow.
Oh.
Has there ever been a white Jackie?
The rapper?
I don't know.
Put it on the poll
Male.
at Lebitard
McMullen,
Show. Has there ever been a white male Jackie?
Jackie Moon. Harbaugh also went for 2, by the way, in the third quarter. Like, had he just kicked extra points both times, the game would have been tied, and they wouldn't have had to go for 2 at the end of the game.
Maybe McDermott doesn't kick that stupid field goal, though.
Jackie Gleason.
Where his belt buckle to the side.
Back to you, Dick.
Who wore Jackie Gleason or Stugotz? Who wore their belt buckle?
Jackie Gleason.
Off to the side.
Belt buckle on the side.
Yeah, he did.
Why?
I don't know.
He's a big man.
Yeah.
Am I right when I frame it in that as the historical perspective that Mark Andrews is now, we now have a moment that's the opposite of excellent, that the football weekend was marred by, instead of greatness, this Hall of Famer, an immortal, really, at the position. You'd say yes, no?
No.
He's just a guy.
Yeah.
Wow, you got him as a Jag?
You think he's like a top... You think Mark Andrews is an immortal? Is he
a
top 5 tight
If
end
he put
of
together
all
like
time?
3 more seasons...
Is he a top 5 tight
You have
end,
Mark
like,
Andrews
presently?
with Tony Gonzalez and guys like that.
Well, I mean, I got to see the numbers, but I think like if he puts together 3-4 more seasons of what he's done in his career, he might be a borderline Canton guy.
I could make an argument that no one would get behind that I think George Kittle might be the best tight end that we've seen because George Kittle has not had the quarterbacks that the great tight ends have had.
Or Bowers. I could go Bowers now.
Oh, Bowers is already there.
Come on, man.
But before
Kittle's the best blocker.
Billy, that was great, and I want you to sharpen that because we're sharpening boldest take here.
I mean, Travis Kelce's had Patrick Mahomes. Gronk had Brady. Who has Kittle had?
He's great. He's indisputably great.
And by the way, half the time they just use him for blocking. Like, they haven't even unleashed him to his full potential.
I would say that George Kittle is probably better than Mark Andrews now and forevermore, but I don't know how you're defining immortal. So perhaps I'm getting carried away. I just think of this player as one of the best I've seen at the position, totally unguardable. But when you talk boldest take, we now have a sponsored boldest take. You guys have been leaving them by voicemail. We're keeping alive the voicemail, Stugotz.
Wow.
The landline and the voicemail. You haven't heard about this. I expected you to be on here spewing takes on your way home because we've got a sponsored take line, and this is our boldest take from the weekend.
The Boost Mobile boldest take from the weekend is presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country.
Hey, yo, I ain't gonna hold you. I've seen the success of LeVar Ball now with the 3 of his sons. LaMelo, All-Star. Lonzo, he's cooking in Chicago. So here's my proclamation. LiAngelo Ball is going to the Grammys this year. Not only is he going to the Grammys, he's winning one. Rap Song of the Year, baby. Tweaker, I might swerve in that corner. Whoa, whoa.
Yeah, sure thing. Hey, you sold that car yet?
Yeah, sold it to Carvana.
Oh, I thought you were selling to that guy.
The guy who wanted to pay me in foreign currency, no interest, over 36 months? Yeah, no. Carvana gave me an offer in minutes, picked it up, and paid me on the spot. It was so convenient.
Just like that.
Yeah?
No hassle.
None.
That is super convenient.
Sell your car to Carvana and swap hassle for convenience. Pickup fees may apply.
Billy.
Yes?
You know what we've been talking about all season long?
Smirnoff?
Yeah, how'd you guess?
I knew it. I'm a good guesser.
You are. They are the official sponsor of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. So you already know that it's an official vodka partner of the NFL and Super Bowl 59. We're going to be there.
Oh.
Yes.
I can't believe we're by 59 already.
Yeah.
Time flies.
It does, yes.
Yeah, we're old.
I'm old.
Hey, you know what, Stugotz, I was thinking?
Yes.
Since football season's winding down, Super Bowl's coming up, Super Bowl 59. We've been celebrating football all year.
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea.
What?
Let's do a toast.
Okay. Oh, wow.
To football.
Really?
Yeah, me and you. Let's toast football.
So just a toast. So we're raising our glasses of Smirnoff vodka
Glasses
here.
up, yeah.
All right, and we are toasting to football.
To football.
To football, everyone. What we love about Smirnoff is that you can get the world's #1 vodka without breaking the bank. This feeling is what the good folks over at Smirnoff call. Billy, you want to take a stab at
Let me
this?
guess. Smirnoff Extraordinary?
Nailed it! Oh my
I told you, I'm a good guesser.
Oh my God. And right now, Smirnoff has partnered with Complex, letting fans get their hands on some amazing items handpicked by celebrities, including NFL legend and Super Bowl champion Vernon Davis, for the unbelievable price of $12.99, just like a bottle of Smirnoff.
Oh.
So head on over to SmirnoffDrops.com to check out upcoming drops and check out, oh, Billy, you want to take a guess again? These
Smirnoff Extraordinary
items.
Oh, look at us. What's the website?
It is SmirnoffDrop.com. Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer and may vary by state. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.